Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale around Yak Ben. We have a fantastic show for you. Living World Season 3 is underway, new map, Bloodstone Fen, Reddit Dev AMA, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator of MMO champion. It feels like we have been anticipating Living World Story Season 3 for 10 years, but he has been patiently waiting. Say hello to Jim.
Hi everybody. If I disappear, it's because Abaddon destroyed the drivers on my laptop, so I'll try to stay here as long as I can.
And he writes over on his blog, agegaming.wordpress.com, where he answers the age-old question, because of last week's show, am I just a series of graphically automated responses to appear like I am real? Age.question_weekly file missing. Say hello to Age.
It's a lot of work, man, that you put in if you're not really here.
Well, it's all you. See, in this world, you are the Abaddon. You're pulling the strings. See, ooh, I already did the Abaddon thing. We're not even to the stuff yet. But let us jump right into it. But do want to say here and now, thank you everybody for sticking around for our technical difficulties, and that's the fun. That's some of the fun stuff you get to miss if you don't show up live. But granted, doesn't happen too often. But for me, once is too many. Anyway, let's jump right into it. This week we had a patch drop, and it was the Living Story Season 3 patch. There was plenty more in it, but I think that's the one thing people are focusing on. And before people maybe click away, we're going to kind of go through everything general, and then at the very end, we'll even get the warning then. Then we're going to go into spoiler territory. So in this portion, this will be as spoiler-free as we can pretty much make it. So don't worry. And like I said, we'll give you guys...
Spoiler tag.
Yeah.
Just somewhere up here.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yep. Actually, it's over the corgi for right now.
Oh,
we might
it's
throw it up there just so it's more visible for people, but we'll have that up if that happens, or when that happens, so just so you know. But we'll give plenty of warning, so let's jump right into it. Out of the Shadows came out Tuesday, and so that was kind of the image that they teased us with. Chat's already wanting the spoilers, but don't worry, we'll get into it. So it's kind of hard to say, like, I mean, we talked about last week the trailers that we saw. They said, we heard Timmy's voice saying we're going up north, stuff like that. And I mean, I don't think we can go too much into spoilers of the content without it, but I would just say, even with chat, how are you guys feeling with the patch overall? I know we kind of use that for the end, but like content-wise, how does it feel?
Feels good, man.
Okay. And you, Age?
I think PvE-wise, it's pretty solid. I mean, there's a little stuff to do. We'll get more into it, but there's quite a bit to do now. Like, a lot of things to do, like new fractals, new map, Bloodstone Fen. It kind of just takes up your time PvE-wise with farming, and I like it. And there's new balance changes, which means new builds. And I'm working on a stupid build right now, which I'm really excited for. So.
Awesome. So we can somewhat talk about the a little bit about it without going into it with spoilers until later. They did accompany the patch with a Reddit AMA with all the devs. I think it mostly focused on the storytelling devs and like what parts were people's favorites, and there was a couple little chunks of interesting tidbits here and there. I'm just gonna throw it out to you guys. What things did you guys take away from it that you found interesting, or maybe confirmation, or?
I think it was the World vs. World stuff. Just because all the polls for like repair hammers, cannons, all that stuff. So we're gonna have hammers on the 2nd, August 2nd. Sorry, we're gonna have 2 Alpine, 1 Desert come back. I think it was next next week or the week after.
Yeah, I think they were hovering towards the end of
Oh,
August or
end of
somewhere
August.
along there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, and cannons later on. The other thing was armor, legendary armor. They don't have really plans for fractal legendary armor right now. They're still going to have insights as the main thing you use to make legendary armor, just kind of good. So for future raids, so you can still do the old raids, and you probably have to complete the collections for the new raid just to get the armor for the new armor if you want it. And I think the legendary armor is not coming soon. It's still in development, so I'm kind of a little worried about when that's coming. Some people have jokingly said like it's going to come a year later, but like I really don't know at this point. I hope it's before next expansion, because
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be weird if they had to funnel it into, because that kind of goes along the same lines. I mean, granted, kind of what I said with when they had to put legendary weapons on hold indefinitely. If they ever come out, like say they're re-picking it back up, I feel like it's obligated. It has to be locked behind the Heart of Thorn stuff and not a future expansion, because that would just feel kind of crummy.
Yeah.
I think at this point, with legendary weapons, I think they should probably just lock it behind Mastery. So if you buy the game after the fact, after Heart of Thorns has come out, if they continue rolling forward with their, you buy the new game whenever the next expansion comes out, it's the full $60 retail price, and you get everything that came out before that as well. I think that should be probably fine. So, because I mean, then you also have the added thing of you have to go through the Mastery stuff to get anything but the original, or the Gen 1, I guess if we're going to use Pokemon terms, to the Gen 1 legendaries. So you can find those randomly, you can do the collections for them, but everything else it's going to have to be the collections. But it's already locked behind Mastery, so you have to buy the game after Heart of Thorns has come out. So I don't think that's too much of a problem.
I'll say, any other things you saw from the Reddit AMA? I know mine, which I kind of felt like I was hopeful until I saw it on the Reddit AMA.
This is the glider thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, the backpack glider things. Basically, they said backpacks and concerning dying backpacks and gliders. They are two different items and came into the game at different times with different goals, needs, and different technologies available. By the time we were developing gliders, we were able to intentionally create them so that they could be dyed, and had missed that opportunity with backpacks. Does that mean that there's no chance for dying backpacks?
If they're gonna be like desynced like that, I guess not. So.
Well, that's developer doublespeak for not yes and not no.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in my mind, if they were trying to go that route, I would hope it would go with, like, because I understand, like, it has to go back to, like, oh, we got to figure out kind of where we want the dye channels to be and how they're affected. But at least with the ones that are backpack and glider combos, they're kind of already, like, they can just match them. And honestly, that's what sometimes keeps me from buying those ones, is because it's like, hey, I'm running around with this colored version, and it's like all of a sudden when I'm gliding, it's magically a red version, or it's like, well, why?
Yeah. That's the problem I have with the I actually bought the newest combo, and I like it, but it's just like, why can't I dye my backpack?
Yeah, I
can't do it.
It magically changes colors when you start gliding. I guess the wind, it plays tricks on your eyes. But yeah, that was probably like the saddest thing for me to hear, was like, no, it's like, well, like I said, while I'm sitting here, I'm not expecting to be like, oh, make it happen on all of them at once. It's like, I was hopeful, like, maybe the ones that are already gliders, since they have like the dye channels, they could open that up to that first, because I mean that also takes an effect on the art team and stuff like that. Chat's trolling me about, yeah, we live in a world full of Abaddon and magical and yeah, color changing backpacks bothers you. Yes, it does.
My immersion, man.
Yes. Why is the cloth on my backpack changing? But any other things that popped out from the Reddit AMA?
If we're not going to talk about balance later,
we're probably going to hit upon it. Yeah.
Then I'll save mine for later for that one.
Okay. One thing that's like that bugs me is like I'm glad that they're doing these, but like I said, there wasn't that much information that came out from them out of the Reddit AMA, and it's like horrible to say like I don't want to say like don't do it, but it's like it happened right after the patch. Not a lot of people got a chance to try the game, or the new stuff, or
I can formulate a lot of questions unless it's like about the balance changes. Because I need to actually play through your story content. I need to play through the map. I need to try out new fractals a bit, and not necessarily plug the new ones or at higher tiers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, speaking of, you said the new map. Like I said, once again, without going deep into spoiler territory, we are apparently the new map is Bloodstone Fen, which for people that aren't aware, in Guild Wars 1, the Bloodstone Fen was kind of where what it says. It's housing a bloodstone, which for people that don't know, that's basically what was storing magic for the races to utilize and call upon it. So, but it's definitely more interesting this time around because, I mean, unlike Guild Wars 1, it's a lot more vertical. Because Guild Wars 1, you couldn't really go vertical.
Hey, you had slash jump.
Yeah. I also had wings. I had a glider before all you.
250 years before us.
Yes, I am one of those people that bought Ion. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's got a new there's like 2 new currencies in that zone. Like, do you think that's too much? Like, it's
one of them is a currency, and one of them is an item that lives in your inventory, which I kind of want to punch whoever decides to do that.
Yeah, I understand the rupee thing. So Unbound Magic is the first currency, and then that's the one that goes into your wallet. The other one is Blood Rupees, and those are the ones that don't go in your currency because you can salvage it for I believe it's like Bloodstone dust, which
yay.
yeah, pretty much. But you can use the Bloodstone rubies and magic together to buy the new Ascended trinkets that can give you hot stats like Vipers and Minstrels. But you can also, I think, you can also get raid stats like Zealots.
Oh,
So,
chat's saying you salvage it for the Unbound Magic.
Oh, you salvage it for magic. Okay.
So it's not Bloodstone Dust. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I was gonna say I was too scared to salvage them because I kind of wanted to save up for some of the stuff they had.
My first question is, why is it a salvageable? And yes, Tavik also brings up a good point. Ectos can be salvaged, and those still go into material storage.
'Cause I never salvage Ectos.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who would salvage Ectos for the luck, as my dog goes nuts upstairs. I still don't understand why it couldn't be in some kind of wallet or storage. But
I think they said in the AMA they gave an answer for that. I cannot remember what it was though. Let me look real quick. You may continue with your point, Malthanis.
no, that was basically it. It's just I don't understand why they have currency items that are not placed in currency. Like, I don't... It bothers me. Like, We complained about that with the geodes and the bandit crests, and those went into the wallet because that was the logical place for them.
In chat saying
I can totally understand.
You can get crystalline dust from salvaging ectos, so you know it's a nice 400.
I'd rather kill stuff for crystalline dust than salvaging ectos, because or sell the ecto and then buy more crystalline dust. It's a more guaranteed purchase that way.
Here we go. The thought. Oh no, that was the Moa thing.
I'll say, well, while you look for that, I was gonna say in this new zone, this does answer what people were concerned about with some of the going off this the idea of this currency. You can purchase ascended rings and trinkets and a back piece that you can choose the stats on them. So that does answer that question of like, how do people that aren't raiding get like vipers or rings and stuff like that?
And they're basically exactly like the trinkets and such you can buy from the raid. They have all of the stat selections that you can get from those. They think.
Well, I think when I brought this up, I think Age told me they might have fixed it by now, but like when it first dropped, one of the stat sets was missing, but they did say that was a bug. But it's intended to have all the choices, just in case people are looking right now and it still hasn't been fixed, but they are aware of it. Okay,
So,
Chad is saying it was fixed last
hot
fix. Okay.
That's good. So it said talking about inventory. This is a question. It says talking about inventory clutter. Please give well, not a question, more a statement. Please give a collection to Bloodstone Ruby, and the response was, they're not what we would consider a material for material storage. And since you actually mentioned the ecto, even though I don't salvage my ectos, it does still have that effect. So I still think it should be part of material storage. Maybe eventually they'll do it down the road.
I really, we have a limited amount of space as is, with alternate gear sets, with other stuff. I realize they kind of have to try and push people to buy those extra bag slots with gems, but
oh, you're
it sounded like he was swearing.
That was one of those couple of technical difficulties we've had this whole time. So
that was awesome.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
I figured that was gonna. Where did I cut off in my rant?
I think you were just about to start. You're like,
oh my god! It's like, see, Abaddon destroying my drivers. I can't stand the nickel and diming of inventory space. Let me just put it like, I think that's the easiest way for me to put it.
Okay.
And this just feels like this is something that could fit very easily in material storage. There's plenty of stuff that goes in material storage that really doesn't have much of a use outside of very specific things.
I'm honest. Yeah, you got kind of a point, because I actually considered like an hour ago. I'm thinking of upgrading my material storage from 500 to 1,000, just so I can put some of the stacks of stuff that I have in my inventory, so I can make some bank space, so I can actually put more stuff in. So it's like I have room, and it's getting kind of crazy. It's getting to that point where you might have to increase the bank storage space sometime soon.
Well, let's move on, because we'll be able to delve more into a lot of this stuff once we're in the spoiler territory. But let's jump to some of the other stuff in the patch notes, and it was the Fractal Changes. So we did know that they were going to add a new Fractal. It was the Chaos Isle Fractal. I don't think they told us that they were going to revamp the couple. I think all we knew was there was going to be a new Fractal, but they did revamp Swamplands and Snowblind Fractal. So do either you want to talk about what they changed in the older ones? And then we can talk about the Chaos Isle.
I haven't had a chance to run them yet, but I do know when they revamped Cliffside, I know they said they wanted to do more. So it's not like this is kind of an out of the blue thing, but they didn't give a timeline for, oh yeah, we're doing Snowblind next. So it's just that, yeah, we want to do this further in the future, but it's nice to see that we're getting another 2 instead of just the one Cliffside one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I did tier 3 swamp and slow blinds on the patch day. Bloom Hunger was way harder just because no one knew what they were doing, and it's going to be like that for a while. So all tier 4s are going to just be utterly annoying if people don't know what they're doing, which is going to be expected. And if people don't speak up, which I ask in chat, if you don't know it, please tell me. So that's going to be Snowblind is going to be a little faster because they just changed a lot of things that were annoying in that Fractal. The fire pits use firewood now, so you can keep the fires more alive in that case. And Swamp, it changed so that you have to do the Wisp, and then you fight Mossman, which sadly is now a mini boss. It's
Yeah, you
pretty easy
fight
now.
him actually in the tunnel that used to kind of be underwater,
Yeah.
like that transition to Bloom Hunger. So you actually
Yeah,
had to
that-
fight him in a hallway. So
Yeah, that little hallway that you used to open is now like above ground, so you don't go underwater at all. And then you go into a room where there's Bloom Hunger, and there's a whole bunch of new mechanics to that fight, and it's pretty fun.
a tree on cocaine, you say, Netco?
yeah, and I was gonna say also, chat was saying that hopefully they'll redo the underwater, which made me think of the Swamplands. I was like, what are they gonna just dry out the whole thing? Like,
It would be kind of weird to have it called the underwater fractal and have there be no water.
well, especially with the end boss. Oh,
Hmm.
the end boss is
I don't
part like
know.
elementalist, and he's just in the floaty bubble thing the whole time, and that's how he stays
I-
underwater. Okay, before we
I-
go down to that, anyway,
Yeah, both of those are. I think Snowblind is a lot easier now, in my opinion. I think
Easier or just more efficient?
Okay, yeah, more efficient. Well, it's easier because it goes by faster, I guess.
you get
Just
to the stuff
because-
faster than because this is basically what they changed. Originally, you had to when you first entered Snowblind, you had to either jump down like to the bottom and get your health back, or zigzag down the side of that mountain face and light those light the campfires to stay warm, and then make it to the big bonfire in the center to melt the wall. This one, you just basically run straight out to the bonfire, and you have to collect, like Age said, first you light it, then I think you have to collect the firewood to keep it alight.
Yeah, and then what's it called? The elemental is a lot easier to kill, and you have to light all the fires around it to weaken it. I guess easier isn't the right word to say. But the final boss does take a lot more damage now.
It just shaved idle time off.
It just it shaves time
yeah,
off.
it was not.
It's more engaging.
Yeah, you're in the action faster than just running around. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's easier. It's just you're getting to the combat faster, which isn't a bad thing. But
I'll say
let's
Swamp is a little more difficult. If people don't know what they're doing anyway.
the mechanics are definitely more different than they were. Like they changed up the mechanic. Basically, you have to keep them in an area that changes so you can do damage to them.
Yep.
But the new Fractal, the Chaos Isles. So, how can you explain that one? Like, apparently it seems like Dessa is telling you, like, something weird happened, like, you go down there and I mean, how would you guys describe the look of it? Like,
Every existing fractal you've done in one fractal.
yeah. I was
Or
say
just
it's a nice.
elements of every fractal that you've done in one fractal.
Honestly, when
All
we
I've seen is the screenshot of the the Jade Maw with the cat golem ears at this point, and I'm just like, yeah, that's probably a pretty good summation of everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did it with on Thursday with Guild Mag. They streamed on there and we hosted it and whatnot. But I think the only person at that time that did it already was Age, but he willingly stayed quiet to let us, you know, kind of allow us to get the reaction. Honestly, because I think Age, didn't you set the fractal like to go in? Because I think when we went in, you start out at the cliffside fractal, and I was like, did you pick the wrong one?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
I
it's.
was like, yeah, I picked the right one. Everyone thought we were in cliffside.
I was like, do we have to restart it, or like I was ready to jump off the side of the cliff.
Yeah. So it starts off. So for those who don't know, I'll talk about it because it's not really much of a spoiler. So you start off as a cliffside type of map, and you still kill some NPCs, some people there, and then you transition into the what fractal was it? The fractal where you keep jumping up. I forget what it's called already. Good job, Edge.
Oh,
yeah.
Isn't it uncategorized?
Uncategorized.
Uncategorized.
But you're not dealing with harpies.
Yeah. You basically deal with golems, and some of the golems have wings.
And don't worry, they have knockback as well, so it's not like it gets any better.
Yeah. And then after that, you transition into the same uncategorized boss type of deal, but with the added Thomanova boss as well. And you have some slightly new mechanics, some old mechanics of that Thomanova boss as well. And then you transition into Snowblind crossed with Jade Maw, where you have to transition through.
Pretty crazy.
You have to just basically trek through Snowblind and not die to frostbite, while also avoiding Jade Maw tentacles, which you can't kill. So you just have to survive that, and then you reach what's it called?
Well, the tentacles have an AoE effect now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll knock you
can
on your butt.
Yeah, you can dodge them, which is good. And then after that, you transition to you know the Aether Blade panels where like the purple light up floors? You transition
That will like instantly kill you.
into a fight with a boss there. That it's a char boss, and basically the floor can light up.
I'll
like
say I think one of these
Aether
screenshots
Blade.
actually has an image of him that was from the main site. That one right there. That's actually the guy
Yeah.
you'll face at the end of the fractal.
Yeah, and he has the Aether Blade light up floor thing, and I don't think there's any other mechanic there.
It just lights up the panels at different times. Like you just gotta keep moving.
Yeah, and you have to drag that boss onto the bad in order to take down his shield.
Mhm.
That's about it.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you said you tried at a higher one, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is probably what was most interesting to me because we went on a lower one because a lot of us weren't higher, like had a high fractal level. Because I think the next one was like the next opportunity was like a 40 or something, or maybe that was another one we were talking about. But
Yeah.
but
I think so.
when you enter that that guy's platform, all I saw on to the right of us was the above the platforms are basically the dredge mining or the molten facility thing
Molten
where you're fighting the dredge
facility,
boss. It had like the stampers on the corners. That didn't activate at that low level. I'm assuming they're going to.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it also showed like that ray that creates like the cyclone, fire cyclones. So I'm imagining that it gets more intense. But it was just interesting to see like all these other fractal things were floating around. I'm like, is that going to be a mechanic? Is that going to be a mechanic? Oh God, is that going to be a mechanic? Oh, please don't let that one be one.
Yeah. So what I think at higher levels, like at least at tier 4, because when you're fighting the Thomanova boss, there's the Ascalon wall there, so I think there's going to be siege there. Um, and when the final boss, I think, is going to have the Molten Facility stamper things at the very least. I don't know about fire tornadoes or anything like that, but yeah, good times. And the uncategorized golems will shoot those sparks that knock you down. So yeah, be ready for that.
Yeah, so that was it's surprisingly short, but from the sounds of it, talking about it, it is extensive.
Yeah. It's pretty fun, and there are 2 new achievements. Basically, you just have to kill all the cat champions once, and there are 7 pages in that fractal that you have to get, which aren't hard to find.
So if you are interested in this and seeing the higher fractals, they did make infusion changes. So basically, all ascended armor, weapons, and trinkets, the slots minus the amulet are now just infusion slots, which you're probably like, weren't they that before? Not really. When you probably made that armor, you probably noticed one was like defensive or offensive. Well, don't worry, you don't have to worry about that kind of a thing anymore. You just put in infusion slots now, or infusions in there. So I'm kind of happy on that, because that was always annoying to try to explain to someone that was like hit like 80 and we're like, okay, what do I do now? Oh, fractal sounds cool. It's like, okay, well, you'll be fine for like the first 10, 20 levels, and then here's your homework. Like,
yeah. I'm glad it's just so simply just infusions now, because that was one thing that I wanted to add, like higher level infusions to my armor, but I couldn't. Now I can, which is pretty nice.
It's also an easy way to give a lot of people a quick bump. Like, I've got like half a stack of +5s just kind of sitting in my bank, because I've been trying to amp up, because all I had at the time was just out of my trinkets for infusion slots. So now that I've got everything else, I can just start slapping them anywhere I want.
Nice.
and I mean, you're talking about bumping up your agony, like just in case if you're in a pinch. They made it so if the Anguished Tears of Alba, before that was kind of like a nice thing, like where you could, if you had no agony agony resistance, you could drink this potion and get, was it still 10 and 15, depending on if you had the...
I think it was...
Or did you need to have
I think
it
it
no
was
matter
just
what?
10.
Yeah, I think it was just flat 10.
Okay. So it was just a flat 10, and that would give you enough to maybe run like the next 2 or 3, I think, that required agony resistance. Without any issue, of course. Well, now, the Anguished Tears of Alba will now add +10 agony resistance no matter what you have, because prior you had it wouldn't take you over that +10. Like so it would be useless if you actually had any agony. Now, say if you have 70 agony resistance, you drink that, you get +10 agony resistance, or if you do get the mastery, it will give you a +15 instead, agony resistance, which is the I think follows advice mastery.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good, because I was always short agony resistance, so I could do level 100. But now I can. Even with the change, I'm pretty close to 150 agony. So now I have with this potion I'm over, and I'm pretty good now. And
the screenshot just went by. Another nice thing that made it even, I think made fractals even more inviting, is the new fractal UI. I mean, have you guys had a chance to try that out, or at least look at it, and like what kind of things
I've seen it. On it? I've seen it, and I'm really impressed with the UI design on it. Like, that's really helpful for people to actually be able to understand what where things are going to start being a challenge. And it's also a lot easier so you don't have to go to the wiki and be like, oh, hey, where is this? What fractal is this? Or just change it one, look at the... Because it started showing up in the little UI notes in the top right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you were in the fractal hub, it would say, okay, you're on this fractal level, but it didn't say that in the little fractal chooser that they put in originally.
Yeah, I think it separates it by the 4 tiers, which is like how basically when you're in the masteries, that's how you're getting like the better chest drops that could have like ascended stuff in it. So that's kind of how you can differentiate the different tiers. I think you can also see like instabilities and stuff like that if it has that, correct? I think if you highlight over that particular one, it says the possibility or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it very nice because here's a screen again. Like you'll see symbols by it. You can also see the dailies. You know, your level, your personal agony resistance, your personal fractal level. It just makes it so much easier and inviting for a new person, and you know, I'm sure it's easier for a veteran player just to be like, okay, I want to do this one.
Yeah, I forget what levels are which, like fractals. So that's pretty nice.
And I think at the bottom of each of them, so if you want to make it, you can actually make it random. Like I want to do a random one. So if you want to have like a,
is it like random within X tier?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So yeah, if you always want to just be like, I just want, you know, let RNG take me away, and you can hit that, and hopefully you'll get a nice easy one, or a hard one if that's what you want.
You'll get that app on Fractal.
Oh, if they said there was a rare chance to get an app, oh my, no. Don't, no. Okay, show's over, I'm Fractal. I'm finding that abbot on Fractal. But, yeah, overall, what do you guys think of the Fractal changes and quality of life things out of the Fractals?
Yeah, pretty good overall. I mean, I definitely like the infusion changes for sure. I think that's the best part of the fractal changes because it, even if you had max agony resistance to do like level 100, you can either have more. You can have more agony, or you can transfer some of that agony to other characters if you wanted. So it's pretty good.
And
Also,
chat was confirming that it does show the instability. So okay, that's.
It also definitely helps to have less like burden of knowledge on the player for the infusions to work the way they do. Oh, it's like so what gear do you want to pick up? It's like no, it's just I just need the infusion slot and that's it. And that's all you get. So
yeah, it's so much nicer because I remember probably a couple months ago trying to explain like, okay, here's like 10 links on, you know, what these mean and what that means, and oh, you accidentally bought the defensive infusion slot. Well, you might want to, you know, offense. It's like, ugh. Yeah, this is a great change in general. But a little bit of raid news came from here also. A resign command was added, which for people who don't know, if you it basically will kill off your character. So if it's a wipe, you guys can get, you know, basically you can end end that fight and get back into, you know, the action.
Yeah.
And oh, go ahead.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Does it wipe the entire group and only the raid leader use it?
No, it's what happens is that if you call for a wipe, each person has to type the command to kill themselves. And the best part is it uses your equipped finisher to kill you.
That's cool.
Do you have to be on a raid to do that? Because now that I didn't know it used the finisher on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh.
So right now it's just for raids. So I'm not sure if we'd use it for like instance content or things like that. That'd be pretty cool though.
I just want to use it in the open world. If I use the finisher on me, like I said,
honestly,
that's Oh, go ahead.
I'm just really happy that this exists because I know there are a lot of people that have like gaming keyboards that they can keybind stuff too, so it's just you have your quit button for a raid encounter, and you just poke that, and it's /resign enter.
Okay, I was reading chat. You guys might have to tell me, because there is like one that's /surrender, /concede, /forfeit, /resign, but there are ones like /GG that will do it. But chat's also saying /QQ. Is that actually one? Because that would be great. Okay.
Because there's some they put in the patch notes up to like surrender, concede, forfeit, resign were the ones that put in the patch notes. If you type GG, QQ, FF, those are some of the ones I know that actually finish you.
Nice.
So like those are like shorthands for like surrender. So I personally use GG. I like that one.
And chat is saying that it's only usable in raids, but hopefully sometime. Like I said, it could with the guild logoed finishers. I see that as like once again aggressive guild recruitment. If I run up to you and all of a sudden just plant a flag, on my dead corpse, it's like, oh, jeez. Like,
honestly, I think that they should just add a /finisher command, just like they have the /rank for PvP.
That would be cool. Yeah.
/finish.
Yeah, /finish, and it's just it casts your currently selected finisher or a random one if you have the random box checked in front of you. If you type that command, I think that would be perfect.
Let us move. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I would like it if you targeted someone and you type /finish, it would start like a whole Mortal Kombat scene. But, that's my dreams.
Then they might have to pay money. That wouldn't be good.
I would pay for that.
Yeah, okay. There you go. There you go, reading that. Just forward the bill onto Age. That shouldn't be costly. Let's move on to PvP. So, I think we talked last week and also the week before. The Revenge of the Capricorn map was being put back in. Well, is being put in. It used to just be something on the Capricorn. I forget what it was.
Raid on the Capricorn.
Raid on the Capricorn. So it's tweaks based on that map, but it's an entirely new map. So apparently, if you do the achievements in there, you can get a special title, which I definitely like the title. It's the Salty Sea Dog.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're the big PvPer. I think you should be the one to break the. I think that's good news.
I haven't actually tried to play it yet. I think I went into PvP a few times actually, but I think it was before the patch. But I really do want to get on this map. I'll probably try to do it sometime this weekend. Either sometime this weekend or next week. But it looks pretty good from the streams that I saw. It's a little different to navigate, I guess, because it kind of feels like a stronghold map. Just because there's like an abundance of stuff that doesn't actually affect the map, but it's just there for appearance, which is pretty cool. So I think I'll like the map, and they might consider adding it as part of one of the ranked maps if the community likes it. So
yeah, chat's saying they like the flow of the map and the mechanics, and I'm kind of interested that if you look around on some of the screenshots and if you play the map, it actually has posters related to the cutthroat politics, which was between the Honorable Evan Nashblade and then that other one, the one that cheated.
Honorable.
We don't need to know about that other one. I just, Ellen Keel, whatever. But it's interesting that they threw those posters in there, so I wonder if it's like a story behind it or just for flavor.
Anything that will make me like hum the Gangplank theme from League of Legends will just make me happy. So this map will make me do that. I think I'll just like have that queued up, and every time I play this map, I'm just gonna put that on loop.
It's interesting you say you'll have the song queued up, but like I said, I think the next couple of queue changes, like, I think is just awesome news. apparently you're now able to queue outside of Heart of the Mists, and am I reading this right? You can also queue for ranked and off season now.
Yeah.
You won't get progression or anything, but it's you can actually play with the people that are your skill
who want
level.
to have good matches. Yeah, that's for people who want to play people of the same skill level.
I'm assuming that just means it doesn't affect your, like, it'll basically just keep your MMR. It won't have your MMR decay because of it.
Yeah.
I'm not yeah.
That's what I would guess, but
I would guess so, yeah. So you can play around with pretty much the same people, the same skill level. And the queue outside of Heart of the Mist is actually a really good change for those people who have like 20-minute to hour queues, so they can actually do stuff, you know, instead of just waiting.
Not actually feel like they're standing in a line.
This change might actually be entirely for people that are in the upper tiers, so that they can go do something while they're queued up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely for them. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
so yeah, I think those are just awesome little quality of life changes. I think, like someone said earlier, like the quality of life in overall in this patch is just phenomenal, and we're not even done with it yet. They also added a Bloodstone Fen reward track, which, like we said, that's the new map, and so in PvP, and this will kind of lead us into the World v World stuff. They've added both a reward track of that type for each of those playstyles, so you can get the new area kind of stuff through World v World and PvP. So that I'm glad they're on the ball on that one. So let's look at World v World. Like we said, added the Bloodstone Fen reward track for that. Also, it seems like the war score thing, which was one of the things we voted on in the past, correct? Which was sectioning the point system out.
Yeah.
So that's been added, and what are your guys' thoughts on that?
So yeah, when you capture an objective, you actually get points for that as well, which is pretty good.
I'm sure that makes you happy, H. What with your havocing?
Yeah, well, I got 1 point, but it's better than like just killing those veterans that are sentries and not getting anything for it, except like noting where people are. So I'll take the 1 point for camps, and sometimes I just join people for towers, so it's not that bad at all.
Yeah, so the breakdown for it is the castle is worth 6 points, keeps are 4 points, towers are 2 points, and like Age was saying, camps are 1 point. And it kind of seems like the other ones are just like little tweaks, like the Omega Siege Golem, the range of Rocket Punch, and Rocket Salvo skills have been adjusted to 1200. Siege weapons can be affected by conditions and critical strikes, but their health has been doubled.
Really, it doesn't matter. This is really important because it is super annoying to kill Siege when no one's around. It feels like you're just wasting time. So to be able to crit on them, to be able to do condition.
Well, I wonder
really
if this
good.
was like a thing across all inanimate object type things, because like we said when we were running the fractals that Thursday night, when we went to the Snowblind, we were like, oh, the ice elemental you could actually put conditions on, which is a object type thing. So maybe that was across.
Oh, that was no, that was done a while ago.
Oh, it was?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how often. I don't know. The excitement that came from Aaron, I thought it was a new thing. So.
I just think he doesn't do fractals all that often.
Yeah,
It's entirely possible that he hasn't done Snowblind since they made that change. It's been in for a while, though.
Yeah, okay.
They've been slowly across the board taking everything that is a object that originally couldn't be crit and couldn't have conditions put on it, and they've been increasing the health and allowing it to be crit and to be conditioned. So,
Okay.
bonuses there.
And they've added bankers to the team starting areas in Eternal Battlegrounds, Alpine, and Desert Borderlands. So you can get your blueprints and stuff out of without having to leave or something like that. Let's move on to the balancing things. Like, we're gonna try to hit these relatively generally, but this is probably one area, in chat and also when we put this up on YouTube. Definitely, let's drill down on these types of things. But let's go through the same order they went through. So, Elementalists. Basically, it seems like they wanted to improve the base abilities and normalize damage and sustain. So, how do you guys feel about that? And do you think they've accomplished it? And how has everyone else taken it?
The biggest thing is that they took the cooldown reduction traits and they took them from 33% back down to the standard 20%. A lot of people are complaining that this feels clunky, which I can kind of see that argument, but I can totally also see the fact that basically Arena is like, it makes Elementalists too effective. Their healing is too good because it's too often, comparatively speaking. It sucks that there's almost no compensation alongside this change, but it's such a massive change that it is really hard to give adequate compensation at the same time. Mm-hmm. So they have to make the nerf, they have to let things play out, get the data, and then change it, if it needs changed.
Yeah. I will say, though, that there are some nerfs to some scenarios. For example, there was a lava font nerf that actually affects raids for Tempest. So a lava font was used for a lot of mechanics such as Gorsible's orbs, Zera's blood crystals, things like that, and it kind of really affects how efficient you can be at those mechanics. And you could still get around it, obviously, but it just makes it a little bit more different. The sustain nerfs actually do affect Tempest, support Tempest in PvP, in addition to the removal of Cleric Amulet.
Actually, I thought they nerfed the bases but increased the healing power scaling.
I'd have to go back and check. I think because it was Elemental Bastion, I think it got nerfed from, was it 50 from 33 or 33 to 20, something like that. But
I'm not sure. But I know specifically Wash the Pain Away.
Wash the Pain Away.
They killed. They nerfed the base a lot, but I'm pretty sure they increased the healing power scaling.
Yeah.
Because they wanted support elementalists to feel like support elementalists.
Yeah. The reason I say so, support elementalists, I think could still possibly work in raid scenarios. I think in PvP it's going to be a lot harder, just because first of all, I'll say the balance team is different from the PvP team. So the PvP team deals with sigils, runes, amulets, and the balance team actually does the balancing of the profession. It's kind of weird how these two are separate, but just to clarify, that's how it works. And so with the balance of the Elementalist sustain kind of nerfs, in addition to the Cleric Trinket Amulet being removed by the PvP team, those two things together makes it a bit of a problem for Elementalists because they don't have a good amulet to use to actually support well, because you'll probably get blown up, because Clerics was used because of the toughness rating, in addition to the healing it had. But now the next best thing is probably Menders, which is really difficult to use because you don't have toughness on that trinket. So amulet. So it's gonna be interesting how people are gonna play around it. Maybe Menders will be used, but the build will be different. I'm not sure. But,
makes me wonder if they'll ever touch up the damage reduction on Frost Aura.
That's what, 33%?
10.
Or, no, that's 10? Oh, okay, maybe. That could go to 20, maybe.
Cool. Well, the next one up they talked about was the engineer. Their kind of goals for that was to improve the baseline engineer and skill splits to reduce overwhelming pressure in PvP. So, do you guys feel that they accomplished that? And like, how have people taken to that one?
Yeah. I've heard it's a lot easier to deal with engineers in PvP. So I'll just take that person's word for it because they're.
Oh, so it's a lot easier to fight them. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So because the thing is with engineers is that they don't die. If it's a good engineer, they won't die.
Until you said it
They
was a
have
good engineer, I was like, oh, I could show you one
Yeah.
that will die.
Yeah. And they added a bunch of nerfs to the gyros. Medic gyro now has a small cast time, so you can interrupt that. The damage on some gyros have been reduced, things like that. So they did overall reduce the effectiveness of engineers. So you can't do good damage and still have that insane tankiness and sustain.
So from the sounds of it, you're saying for them to achieve their improved baseline engineer, it sounds like they mostly weakened the elite spec to make the baseline engineer more favorable.
So there were nerfs to gyros. There were nerfs to the hammer itself. So the thunderclap, still the small AoE stun. It doesn't stun on impact, but it stuns in pulses. And I believe Shock Shield, the melee block skill, I believe they reduce the damage you actually block.
I knew that was the reason why I was dying
Something
2
like
weeks
that.
ago on my engineer. No one do the math on that one.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, shush. Yep, the patch was in, I swear. They were testing it only on my character in that instance, I swear. Guardian, they got a rework and changes to their baseline abilities. They did get a little. They changed the sword around, and they gave the scepter a little bit of love with now giving them symbols. Like, I think that was they wanted to give more symbols to some of the other weapon sets and some quality of life changes to the base weapons and utilities. So
what they said was there is so much trait investment in the seals that or symbols that it felt silly to not have a symbol on each weapon, or at least on each main hand weapon, which I think was great. That was a great change. I know for a fact that I have a Condi Guardian build that I would have used Sword Torch, but a lot of my one of the bigger zeal traits is deal more damage to things that are in symbols, and I didn't have a symbol on Sword. So I think I went Mace Torch for a while there, but I'm going to give that a shot now that I've got access to it. But I'm pretty happy that they made that decision, like to actually kind of unify that characteristic.
And actually, chat's saying the Guardian is pretty good in PvP now. Apparently, traps everywhere, so watch out for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they've changed anything with traps themselves. It just might be that all the Guardian changes, people are trying their Guardians out.
Yeah, because they did buff virtues quite a bit. The heal virtue removes 2 conditions now. The block is better. You do more burning. It's kind of scary, actually. I'm gonna die a lot.
Is that the baseline procs or the baseline actives?
I know the trait for the Virtue of Justice got buffed. It's you burn in an area in addition to something else. I forgot what it was, but
Every 3 hits. I know they moved that because those used to be separate traits. Is that you had the 3-hit burn instead of 5, and then in an area. So now those got merged into a Grandmaster trait.
it's gonna be fun time.
But I think that's probably more the issue right now, is they wanted Guardians to have more representation, and that's probably what people are trying to feel out everything right now, so that's what we're seeing. My only problem is I hope they buff, like I hope they keep buffing the actives on the virtues, at least for base Guardian, because I don't feel like activating them prior to this patch. I haven't had a chance to mess with them completely yet, but prior to this patch, it did not feel worthwhile for me to activate my virtues unless I had Focused Resolve traded. And then I just hit Focused Resolve, and during the immunity channel, because they refresh at the end, I'd hit all 3 of them just to get the procs up, because they'd be effectively free at that point.
Yeah.
So that was my problem with the baseline Guardian virtues. The actives did not feel worth it losing the passives.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's thing with the virtues. I think they buff renewed focus too. I'm not sure. There was a change there. I don't really play much Guardian, so I don't really know.
I might
all
hop
the
back on
traits
mine. Like, I don't know. It just after Hot, I kind of lost field for it, but I do like that the scepter now has a symbol on it, because that number 2 skill that wasn't a symbol, like I think my old build actually utilized symbols, but when I was on there, I was like, I remember a couple times I was like, I really wish this was a symbol, but no, it was like, I think it was a smite
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, it's just called Smite. It just created an AoE effect.
Yeah, I was like, why? It's literally a symbol, but not a symbol, like. Because it did an AoE effect, like you said. It did all the characteristics of a symbol, but wasn't a symbol.
Yeah. It's a symbol now, yeah?
I'm pretty sure
it has
yeah.
like multiple smites. That's pretty good.
Let's move on to Mesmer. So overall, they just wanted to do like some baseline utility changes. Do you remember Age sweating about this? Some of the changes, like didn't they give a buff to mantras and?
Yeah,
Like
they
all
buff
kinds of
mantras. They pretty much buff their Condi damage. They buff some power. They buff some traits and I think some skills to promote power builds. Overall, they did just buff Mesmer. Again, fun times again. So, yeah. I think they kind of deserved it, but I don't like getting Condi bombed by Mesmer. It's the worst feeling in the world because you have like 6 conditions immediately on you. It's not fun. But I'll learn how to play around it. So, don't worry.
Or they'll play through you. Let's move on to the Necromancer. So it just seems like mostly quality of life stuff, like some of the abilities with the main hand weapons, stuff like that, but also a nerf to Rise, which for people who don't know, in the Reaper spec line, when you get the shouts, one of them's Rise, where it will, depending on how many enemies are around you that get affected by the shout, it will summon that many minions. I think it was no more than 5. But then it would
think it's up
be...
to 6.
Oh, was it 6? Okay.
Guaranteed 1 per cast.
Okay. So then, yeah, I think then it could affect up to 5, so it could be... but now I think nerfed it so they do, what, half damage and then 20% less toughness? Or am I getting that backwards?
That's pretty good, yeah. That's about accurate. So the problem with Rise is that Rise was actually really good in Raid just because it is like your free Condi clear kind of deal, because you can trade to minions to transfer conditions for you. In PvP, it was just annoying because you would have all these minions and you can't afford to cleave them out and deal with the Necro at the same time while he's just getting that free like boost to himself. So that nerf was probably warranted.
Because yeah, you got to figure you had the transfer condis to your minions. You had Flesh of the Master, so bonus toughness per minion. Then you had a blood trait where your minions siphon life to you, and then when the minions die, they leave the poison cloud.
Yeah,
So
nothing wrong with that, right? I was fine with it. I think this
course.
nerf is uncalled for. I mean,
yeah. I think Necromancer will still be fine.
oh yeah.
It's gonna be a little harder because I noticed the trend is if you see a Necro, you kill it. But if there's 3 Necros, you should be fine. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look at the Ranger. So, this is one thing, another quality of life thing that I think people have always wanted. Names for pets will actually stay for that pet, even when you unequip them.
Yay!
I think I sent this particular tooltip to my wife while I was at work when the patch notes dropped, and I think the response was just an excited bashing of the keyboard. And And to be fair, the number of times I think I've just seen people running around with juvenile X, and it's just like you walk past and it's like, oh, I can tame. Oh wait, no, that's somebody's.
Yeah, I know. I've probably given up on that a couple of times where it's like you switch them out. It's like, oh, there goes the name. But also they did buffs to pets and their abilities. So a lot of love for the pets. They can even keep their name.
Nice.
So let's look at the Revenant. Yeah, mostly bug fixes. Like when you go through them, it was like I noticed the sword stuff because that's the one thing I was trying to run with, and for the longest time, it wouldn't take into the weapons damage. Like it was just based on the abilities. So I think now they actually take in the weapon damage, so you can actually kill things with it.
What was that? The skill 2 that didn't have the.
Well, I think all of them eventually didn't do that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't end up teleporting yourself into a rock again, right?
Yeah.
It'll still happen.
Yeah, they didn't get that part yet. But hey, I can at least kill things with my sword now. So there's that.
You're one of the. I think you're like the only class that really does the whole blipping around thing so far. Revenants.
Mm-hmm.
So, though I wouldn't be surprised if Mesmers got it or Thieves at some point.
Oh no. This is.
Now we lost Age.
The best part is what the next one is. Thief.
It's Thief.
Well,
we can skip to Warrior.
Yeah, we'll go to Warrior just in case. So, I'm tempted to do Thief to be like, no, we passed it. We're not going back. Warrior. So the Warrior is adjusting numbers to keep the Warrior competitive but not unbeatable, and fix some abilities so there isn't a drop in damage where it's not intended. So, I mean, did they? I would say I know that was one of the things they definitely gave some axe buffs to the Warrior.
Yep.
So,
I have no idea. Like that's the one thing I saw, and I'm like, yeah, Cyclone Axe buffed again. Yeah, Tavic's gonna be happy about this. That was my first thought.
If I randomly freak out, it's just there's a huge ass spider that just crawled across the wall. So.
Oh, so that's why you jumped out of your chair.
Yeah, I went to get like tissue paper so I can catch it later.
Okay.
All right.
Then you can name it, and it's gonna keep its name. Wait, no, that's just. Okay.
If we find spiders anywhere that are the size of Guild Wars 2 spiders, I'm burning that place to the ground. Like, seriously. Australia doesn't have those kinds of spiders. The Amazon does not have those kinds of spiders, okay?
But, yeah, going back to the Warrior stuff, yeah, I kind of honed in on the axe buffs just because, like, it was one of those things I was scrolling the thing and it just lit up and I was like, was there much anything else for the Warrior? I mean...
Adrenal health got nerfed, so that's like their nice little health regen. It wasn't hurt significantly. It was... I don't think it was warranted, but, you know, it's just to normalize their... Because they have a lot of good defenses now. They got a whole bunch of buffs or movement skills, like a little quality of life stuff to that. Axe buffs, which were pretty good. So I think that one little nerf they'll live with. Yeah.
Okay. And we did save it for you because we didn't know where you were going or how long it'd be. So the Thief, basically the main things that they worked on, or overarching things they worked on, was Venomous Aura, now a baseline, and Venom's updated for balance, and also introduced a bit more boon theft with Rending Shade trait. So how are people feeling about that? And you know, did they add other things that?
So Venomous Aura being baseline is always nice just because you don't have to trait for it. So basically what Venomous Aura does is that it shares any venom that you activate, it will share it with 4 other people. So if you have Basilisk Venom, which petrifies an opponent, you will share that with 4 other people, so they can also petrify an opponent when they hit them. They removed they moved the cooldown, I believe, to the other Venom trait, and they normalized the other Venoms to match up with the baseline move of Venomous Aura, which is kind of good, kind of bad overall, because Venom Aura, you can just easily share it if you have it on your bar. The sad thing is that some of the Venoms get nerfed because of it, because Basilisk Venom used to have 2 procs of Petrification, now you only have 1, but it's a 1.5 stun instead of 1 second.
I think they shaved a stack off of every single Venom.
I just don't remember. I don't use Venoms too much. I use like Basilisk and Spider Venom, if anything. But I guess overall it's pretty good. I mean, I can learn to play with just 1 stack of it now. The new trait Rending Shade, I'm not convinced by it, because what it does is that it steals 2 boons on a stealth attack. So if I backstab someone and they have boons, I'll steal it. But it's the other part of it that doesn't convince me. It's if a person doesn't have any boons, you'll take 10% reduction from that person, which is, I feel like it's impossible in a PvP scenario because there's just boons everywhere. Like, I don't think it's possible to,
especially with Revenants around. Hey, QED. Yeah, I think it's very difficult with just Elementalists pulse out a lot of boons. Revenants are literally boon. They are the boon squad. So
I just feel like it's kind of useless to have that kind of trait. I don't know. I'm not convinced by slotting that trait. I'd rather take the other Shadow Arts traits.
Well, the stealing boons is useful. The second half is what's dubious.
The stealing boons on stealth attack, I guess I can use.
Because you're both debuffing, you're stripping boons from the target and giving them to yourself. So it is a plus and minus in the ways you want. I mean, I totally agree that it's not like they won't get those boons back relatively quickly, considering how much boons get thrown around. But there's still a benefit to stealing boons, which I think definitely falls into a very fiefy kind of thing.
Yeah, I would just have to try it out. It also requires me to slot Shadow Arts, which is not ideal in most scenarios, just because Deadly Arts Trickery, Daredevil is the way to go. But Shadow Arts is useful if you want that extra Condy Cleanse, so it could be useful to have that trait. I don't know. I'll give it a try and see. I mean, it's not off the table for me right now, but we'll see.
Cool. So like I said, we were trying to hit those, like, because there are a lot of changes, and some of the stuff like Elementalist, a lot of people aren't happy about it. So definitely, we can talk about it during after show and also on YouTube. Those are probably great to let us know how those are, how it has affected your character lineup. So some of the other stuff that came in this patch. Some guild hall stuff. Some love to our guild halls. So there is now a new guild upgrade, the guild anthems. So Anthem is now played for members around when completing guild missions, winning a PvP match with a guild team, claiming a World v World objective for your guild, defeating a world boss summoned by a guild world event, planting a guild heroes banner, purchasing a guild upgrade, finishing someone with the guild finisher will play the anthem in a small area. Ho ho, here comes aggressive guild recruitment.
Join my guild.
Yeah. You like that music? There's more where we're at. So yeah, I think they've talked about this in the past. So finally it's like fully implemented and working now all the way, as it was intended. Also, I think the bigger of some of the stuff is now you can now you can have 2,000 decorations in the guild hall. It used to be 1,000. So they literally doubled the amount of decorations you can have in the guild hall. They did, when they released this, also say, like, for people on lower end machines, definitely make sure when you're going into these places, like, turn down some of, like, items and stuff like that, like rendering items and the distance and stuff like that. So definitely keep note of that if you've noticed you're more laggy in your guild hall. Also, they've added a single decoration eraser tool, which so many times I've done that where I'm trying to aim for one thing and it deletes like 5 things behind it. So
that's amazing, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and kind of what we've been talking about in the past, like hopefully more things for the guild hall to personalize it. They've added a new monument decoration, so you can make custom inscriptions on monuments up to 140 characters, and it's a max of 50 monuments per guild hall at any one time. So what do you guys think about that?
That's cool.
You
can tweet at my guild members.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I actually really like it.
I want to see a Twitter
because-
guild hall now. Like,
Be a very short-lived guild hall. Only 50 messages.
well, someone's got to be on top of it, just deleting all the old ones, resetting them.
Well, you just have 5 at like where everyone spawns in your guild hall, and then you just check. You put like a timestamp of when the latest one was, and then you just swap every now and then. That's all.
Yeah, I kind of like it for like if it's a guild that does like events or something. Like maybe have like, oh, this person won this event, like in wait, depending on how much, if you're doing multiple of these things, like an allotment, like it's the last 10 events or something, and it's kind of like the Hall of Fame or something. So yeah, I definitely like it.
The one thing I'm curious is if it is included or excluded from the decoration limit. I'm assuming that it's within the decoration limit, so that if you have all 50 monuments up, you can have another 1950 decorations.
Yeah, it's not horrible. I mean,
yeah, it's not like it's taking up that much. And I totally understand their concern, because I do remember reading about this. They said it's only 50 because they're concerned with server space.
Oh yeah, that will add up quick.
50 is actually quite generous, actually.
Yeah.
In my opinion, so.
And I'd imagine
many
since they refer to them as new monument decorations, it's going to count towards that. So, so yeah, a lot of cool things coming to the guild hall. Hopefully, we get to see more things. Like, do you guys have any things you want to see, like a decoration? I know I have one, but
I would like to see the decorations, like the monuments. I would like to see the actual script written out, like on the monument, like so you could have a big signboard. And so you could actually have something spelled out on the signboard. That would be really impressive.
I'm waiting for my Abaddon statue.
okay.
So
well, that one for me was like a gimme. I mean, that's. But I would like to see something like a decoration that has physics attached to it, in the sense of, like, if you go to Tarir. I know it's on the eastern side, that the like little stream waterfall that they have, you can actually slide down that. Like the current will actually push you naturally. I'd kind of like to see something like that. But
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
yeah, I got a couple ideas for that, but unfortunately doing them in Tarir, I'm very much on a time limit on that one because the event will start and I don't want to be annoying. Be like, yeah, fight the Mordrum. I'm playing in the water. You have fun. So I don't want to do that. But some other awesome things that have come out, and I saw people saying at the very beginning, salvage all. Right. So basically, if you right-click a salvage kit, you will be greeted with these 3 options. You can salvage all rare quality items, all masterwork and lower quality items, and fine and lower quality items. And the nice thing is, when you click one of those, like say if you do masterwork and lower quality, it'll kind of show you all the items that you're going to be salvaging. So if you want to, you can make sure your special item isn't going to get destroyed. For me, I think that might be more under the rare out of those options. I mean, I don't know how many people are saving a
That's
particular green or blue item, but I could be wrong.
I think it's a good change. I would
Oh,
like
yes.
the option. I would definitely like the option to have like rare quality and lower, because I'm doing like rare quality and then masterwork afterwards. But I would like the rare quality and lower quality option, just because that's just for me personally. But I clicking twice instead of clicking 50 times is definitely better. So,
Yes.
yeah.
My only thought on how to improve on this is, say when you have that little preview window that the items had checkboxes on them, and if something showed up that you didn't want to salvage, you could just click that checkbox and unmark it.
Oh, that would be
nice.
That would be the only thing I can think of to improve the system.
yeah.
It might be a little difficult, but it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what the...
But even though we're trying, oh, you just went out again. Well, while he's fixing that, like, while it sounds like we're like trying to improve upon it, we're still very much happy with this. Like, it's a great change. It's just like I think Jim said, if there is anything like that you could nitpick about it, that little thing would make it a little bit better. But we're not saying like, oh yeah, get rid,
No,
take it back into like testing. It's not finished yet.
Yeah,
No, keep
no.
it, please.
My whole mention is not a gimme. I love this functionality because I often have to click through a whole bunch of junk. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, saves so much time. They also gave us some new emotes. There is the cross arms, the sad, the talk, the thanks, which you can do thanks, thank, and ty, and the upset or face palm. So basically, for people that don't know, just put basically the ones I was saying, just put a slash in front of them, and basically all one word type of thing, and it will give you
And
unique ones.
these are all continuous emotes, right?
I think all but I want to say thanks, just because he goes,
Right.
But I think all of
Thanks.
them are continuous.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
these are emotes NPCs have that we didn't have at the time, but now we do.
We've also used them in the personal story.
Hmm.
Because the talk animation is the talk animation from personal story a lot of the times, for more of the generic characters.
Which I know so many people are happy about because, like some machinima makers out there, the talk thing, yeah. So awesome for everyone, because I think some people were trying to like do ones where it was like would put like a passive buff on someone to hopefully get the mouthing animation. So yeah, I'm sure they're ecstatic about this change. Go ahead. They also fixed a looking for group bug that posted the last description made when changing it. So another little tweak to it.
Pretty big. That's
Yeah.
annoying when you're posting for fractals, and then you like one person left, so it's like, oh, you have to change it, but then it's just appears as the same last one. Then you get the same person, you get a different person who's like, oh, we're not actually doing these ones, and then they leave again, so you have to change again. It's kind of like,
So yeah, all nice changes all around. I mean, before we switch gears to the spoiler section, let's as always do the Gemstore stuff. And first up, we got the Verdant Executor outfit. And once again, always thank you to Dolphy for showing off all these things so you can spend your gems wisely. So definitely check out Dolphy.net for all the Gemstore stuff and news as well. So yeah, Verdant Executor outfit. Remember, it is an outfit, so it's all or nothing. You can hide the helm. 700 gems. And so what are your guys' thoughts on this?
It's a pretty cool Sylvari-based outfit.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people I heard said like they're happy that there's like another kind of Sylvari cultural themed like thing. They would have liked it to be an armor, but they're also okay with this. But yeah, granted, for me, maybe it was just the color scheme, because I do like how Dolphy did it, but the default like green on a Norn just made me look like Swamp Thing. I was like, I'm not feeling it. But as I'm seeing like the other color combinations, I definitely do like it.
I do like the fact that they also rolled this into. It is in the living story.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is using it,
Yes.
so it's nice to see it in game.
So I mean, would you guys consider picking this up? Like, do you think it's a good quality or?
I get it for my Sylvari at least, but
I'd have to look at it on my Sylvari, but my Sylvari is a Necro, so it has kind of a heavy armor feel to it, so I don't think I'd use it on him.
Yeah.
So.
Next up is the Shining Blade Backpack Glider Combo. So this kind of brings up what we were talking about at the very beginning of really wanting the backpack and glider, like a backpack dyeable, because by default the backpack I think is like a bluish color. I don't think it's exactly blue dye, but you can dye.
Country teal.
Ah, okay. You can.
It's the Shining Blade colors.
Yeah, you can dye the glider though. So theoretically, if you start gliding, you can make it go from blue to red. But it's just such a jarring thing. But the nice thing is, if you notice on the back, those emblems on the smaller banners are your guild. So whatever guild you're repping. So that's like a little level of customization for it.
Which is really weird because the Knights of the Dolyak emblem is done using the White Mantle emblem.
yeah, we gotta talk about that later.
Yeah, that hurts. It hurts.
To be honest, when we put that in, I had no idea. Like, I didn't even know that the White Mantle had an emblem at the time. I just thought, Deo, is your ceiling okay?
Yeah. Like a dog drop a dog bowl. But I don't know if I said it, but it is 700 gems as well, and it is also it is a backpack and also a glider. So, another thing that came out was I don't know if it's just for the week, but it's a character slot with a free level 30 boost, and it is 800 gems, and you can get one of those on your account. So, if you're in the market for a character slot, I think that's the going rate for a character slot anyway. Might as well pick up a level 30 boost while you're at it. So. Nice little added deal if you're in the market for a character slot. And also in the realm of the Black Lion tickets, we have a new weapon set, the Embellished Weapons. And they are currently one Black Lion claim ticket. As you can see here, as it cycles through, they're mostly like a white, I don't want to say porcelain, but almost like a marble-ish type thing, but with like gems there's gems on it. It wouldn't let me say it. I was trying to be sophisticated, but there we go. And it has all of them apart from I think underwater weapons as per usual for Black Lion weapons now. So, I would definitely like to hear people's thoughts about it. Chat's actually saying very White Mantle-ish.
It's kind of like royalty weapons, if you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're too nice looking to possibly bash someone's face in. Like we were looking at the mace, and I was like, I don't want to get blood on that. Like I don't want to beat someone with that. Which sounds horrible, and I hope that's never used as a soundbite.
I'm not. I have a Black Lion ticket. I'm not using it.
Yeah, these usually didn't strike me.
That looks like a really nice shield. It feels more like a decorative piece.
I was gonna say if they ever allowed like in our guild or in. It'd be a lot worse to do it in a guild hall because potential stealing or something. But maybe in your like home instance, if you could ever like put up weapons like that, yeah, I could definitely see the shield or something. Like, yeah, the shield, like the weapons look nice. I just, as per usual, it's like I couldn't see my characters using these.
Well, Deo, the easiest thing to do would be just you display a skin that you have unlocked for that, just as a side note. Or you could just, buy a white weapon, transmute it, set it up there, and who cares if it's stolen?
Yeah. But yeah, that's chat saying something from Princess Sparkle. I did have the feeling of like almost being like like, granted I've never seen Sailor Moon, but I could just imagine that it would be like more of a Sailor Moon-esque type.
A magical girl anime?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, like, I don't mean that in an insulting way,
Not
though.
even. I don't know. It feels like
it just seems like high fashion, which I don't see on my character.
You know how like royalty have decorative weapons? I feel like this fits that kind of genre where they're not used for actual combat, but they're used for like more symbolic gestures.
It would go with the ceremonial outfit that I think we all got for the... Wasn't that the one we all got for having Guild Wars 2 before? Like, it's an armor... Yeah. It's a fancier armor thing. Like, it's a... Like, it almost seems like they'd be ceremonial weapons. So...
Or the church for a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Last up, they've unlocked some new hairstyles for all the races. And as you can see them, there's, I think it goes like human female, human male, and I think it goes female, male from then on out. But, yeah, it's kind of sad that I think it was the male Norn and male human. It seems like they swapped, like, hairstyle, previous hairstyles.
Females as well.
The females, too.
Oh, females as well? Okay.
That I do remember seeing that in the AMA stuff is that there were a few requests for the humanoid races, you know, i.e. the Norn and the humans, to have their like hairstyle from one on the other. Mm-hmm. And if it's something like that, this is when I take umbrage with the special status, is when it's already a normal hairstyle on another race.
But
like,
are the ones that swapped?
Fro.
Okay, yeah, the fro I could see that being the reason, but I think some of the ones that have been swapped over were also locked behind, or still locked behind, which I can understand for that reason, but like you're saying with the CERN fro, yeah, I would like to see that being like, if they're already putting it on like the Norn, I don't think that should be locked behind.
If it's a free hairstyle, it should be a free hairstyle.
Yeah.
Just no matter what race you put it on, it just should be there. I also think that it's getting kind of silly that they have all of these different hairstyles. I mean, I know you really want to get people to buy the makeover kits, but it just feels like they're locking away a lot of content.
I was gonna say, I'm wondering, like, I think we say this every time. I'm curious. I'd love to see the data on like how many people actually buy the hairstyle kits or something, or have like the ones saved up from like achievements and are like, I want to find that one that comes out, hopefully.
I have a total makeover kit on my CERN Mesmer. I still haven't used it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have like probably 5 or something from achievements, from bundles. Like, I just save them. Mm-hmm. From Blackline chests.
I mean, if there's a Norn hairstyle that like someone wants for their human, I mean, that's perfect for them, or vice versa, or something like that. It's not a bad idea at all. So.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't object to the fact that they're doing it. They're crossing them. I'm not bothered by that at all. I think it's a good idea. What I'm bothered by is it.
You just went out again.
What
are you bothered by?
He's bothered by the fact that if they're like free in the first place, like you can make it. It should be free no matter what, which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Read it out.
Every time I get a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any other thoughts on the new hairstyles, or any of the Gemstore stuff in general?
More stuff to the Gemstore, yay. I don't know, because I know my headset cut out when we were talking about it. The Shining Blade glider has a really nice chain effect when you're gliding. Like, it sounds like chains blowing in the wind.
Oh, okay.
Coming together. Yeah.
See, that makes me want it so much more, but I wish you could dye the back piece. Ah.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, just as a heads up for people, we're going to move into spoiler territory. We're just going to do a quick outro for people that want to head out. We perfectly understand because it's been the first week, but we do want to talk about it, but do want to respect the people that are trying to avoid it. So thank you everybody for coming out. We are, like I said, moving into the spoiler stuff, but if you are popping in just now, this does go up on our YouTube channel. Just search Talking Skritt. We're usually the first one that pops up. That goes live every Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you guys want to just say where you can be found, and go.
I can
Jim.
be found on Twitter at MelthennisMMO.
And Age.
You can find Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at AgeNightRed.
And you find me at
Also-
simply_Dale on Twitter and Twitch. But what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, for the people who are cutting out early, I was thinking of proposing question of the week is, how does your class feel with the new changes?
Okay.
What do you think about what your main is? And I actually have to get going, which is going to cause Deo untold amounts
I think
of
I
stress.
found a way around it, but
Okay.
we'll
hope not,
find out.
but
You hope
but
not,
I'm
you
getting-
jerk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
okay,
hope
well,
not.
so he'll split, and we'll throw up the spoiler tag and all that stuff, and I'll even change the title for people on Twitch. But so this
nice
will all
seeing you
still
all
happen
again.
live. Yeah, thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You as well. So right now, as I am typing in to the Twitch title, we are moving into spoiler territory, just so you know. These are now becoming your final warnings if you do not want to be spoiled. We will not be held
10,
accountable
9,
for it.
8,
I wonder,
7,
can you guys still hear me?
6,
Yes, we
5,
can.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Alright, we're in
I closed the client, and it's still running. I have to go into the task manager and kill stuff.
This has been a great week, let me tell you.
I know, right?
So let me put... And if someone
I
wants
don't
to
know if I have
check,
to
it's
smile at
saying
these.
it updated the title to spoiler, so...
I'll check for you.
Okay. Okay, I think his screen actually just froze for us, so... We'll have to...
Yeah,
Yay!
it's up. It's good.
Actually, we could theoretically just leave him there if it stays that way.
Alright, if you're here, you're screwed. If you
Well, don't word it like that. I mean, if you're here for the spoilers, not just SOL.
If you're here and you haven't done story, it's your own fault now.
Yes, that is the truth. That is true. Okay, so...
Harmonious is active.
Yeah, wow, you just...
Went
didn't even
right
yell
in there.
cannonball. Okay,
Nah, we won't start with that. We can start with,
well, we already did. Oh, okay, there you went.
Aw.
No, I got an idea. Hopefully, yes. Okay.
Sweet.
I don't have to
I know
spend
how you
20
did
minutes
it.
to do that. Oh, no, now we got it. Live editing. Alright. Anyway, okay, let's jump right into it. I mean, yeah, so we are, like we said before, we're heading north in this story. We start out with Air's funeral. I think they did say on the AMA that they were... the reason they chose Air over Traherne was, I guess, more people would have dealt with Air. Even though...
Yeah.
Or more familiar with Air than Traherne. Which is kind of weird, because Traherne is kind of the tail end. I mean, I guess they're running with the whole Destiny's Edge idea that we were playing off of them, but... I mean, if you come from a Sylvari background, you met him before anyone else did. And so... But... I don't know. I felt out of the two, Air's was more fitting because in Heart of Thorns it seemed like we were
It was more
closer to it.
dramatic.
yeah, especially
it was
with
more dramatic
especially with
and,
Bran.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was kind of fun doing that and hearing the Ritlock trombone as his name. And if you did not watch our kind of playthrough of it, I think it was like basically the first couple things. on Twitch on Tuesday. Yeah, when he referred to himself as Uncle Trombone, I was like, no, like.
So you're not gonna say
Oh,
that.
and like Chad's saying, her story is, seated longer in the story because the books were like referencing her and stuff like that. But if you're only coming solely from Guild Wars 2, I mean, you might have experienced Traherne more so. But yeah, I think she has a much more rich story than Traherne did on the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so after that, we talk with Timey to figure out some puzzles, and she's basically protecting Radanovis and all that secret room that we found in Heart of Thorns, and I don't really think bombshells get dropped there. We kind of go ahead.
A few hints. Well, we have a few hints because the ley line map. She showed us a bit about what she's been researching from their notes. So you have the ley line map. We have that chalk organ she put in Mordrum Bile, which again doesn't sound like a good idea. Our character said it. I'm saying it. It doesn't sound like a good idea. But yeah, she's doing research on that. And I just have to say, I kind of like how Timey. I like her character in terms of being independent, because as you guys know, she has like a disease where in her leg, so she's like kind of crippled. She doesn't have her golem with her, and one part of the instance, she says the organ actually attracts chalk, and she had to fight them off. So like she was by herself, because no one knows the Dragon Lair, and we didn't actually visit the Dragon's Lair until now. So like that's kind of impressive to see Timey have that independence. That's just like one of the things that resonated with me at that part of the story.
Yeah. Then you kind of go. You take a. You find out General Soulkeeper, who is the leader of the. Pact. No, not the Pact. Whispers, Priory, Vigil. Sorry. She's the leader of the Vigil, and I think she actually delivers the news to you that now that Traherne unfortunately has passed away, that they want to make you actually the leader of the Pact, which you're trying. I think you then push off onto her, or want to try to, but she kind of laughs that off, and so basically leadership of the Pact is kind of up in the air right now. But
isn't she like a temp now?
Yeah, I think she says she'll do it temporarily because it seems like it's just going to be a desk job in Lion's Arch type of thing because of what happened with Traherne. And she offers to take you up north to the Bloodstone Fen, the last location, or where this, using Timey's leyline map, that seems where a lot of power is going to. And that is what we see in that one cutscene of the trailer, the teaser trailers that they showed, that big blue explosion in that pack ship that's going towards it. That is General Soulkeeper's pack ship. So
which imploded.
Yes,
the
that
explosion imploded, which is cool. And we find out why. Because we find out who's in Bloodstone Fen doing things.
Yeah, so basically you have to get a new mastery before you can continue the story, which it's only a one-level thing. I think it costs 1 mastery point, so it's not a huge hurdle, but it does let you explore this map, which I guess now we can talk more thoroughly about, which the Bloodstone Fen map, you're basically fighting some regular white mantle, some confused actually pact members, because I think there's a
crazed.
Yeah, crazed, that's it. There's also Bloodstone elementals, different things like that, and A nice little touch. One of the end lines you actually face Justicar Hablion, which for people who don't know was a character in Guild Wars 1 that kind of guided you through all of Krita, and then you find out that he was sacrificing people on that very bloodstone that you're going to 250 years later. And it's kind of nice that he actually does like one of his attacks is a spinning axe, which granted looks a lot better in Guild Wars 2 than it does in Guild Wars 1. It's kind of cheesy when he basically sacrifices a bunch of people on the bloodstone. But yeah, he hurts. Though granted, now I heard they fixed where now you can actually get some of the achievements that are attached to him, so that's good.
Yeah. That's working, which is nice. The other thing there that's there's kind of like a volcano-ish area. It's not an actual volcano, but there's an event chain there that happens every hour or so, where there are jade constructs that you can fight. So they're a lot bigger than in Guild Wars 1 for sure.
Oh yeah.
So there's the jade armor, which has an axe. There's a jade archer that has a bow, or jade bow that has a bow, and I believe there's a third one, but I forget what it does. I think it's like a mage type of deal. But you fight one at each step as you go lower and lower into like the volcano-like structure, and at the very end, if you defeat all of them, you trigger an Unbound Guardian, which has similar mechanics to Veil Guardian in the raid, and you get to fight that dude, and it's very interesting because it's way easier to fight Veil Guardian with 50 people than 10. You still have Seekers, you still have the green circles, you still have the teleport circles, but the teleport circles just do damage instead of actually teleport you to a random location. It'd be interesting if it teleported to the other side of the map. That'd be just very annoying. But yeah, it's very interesting how that went from all of that. It's just interesting how they combine the J constructs into this Unbound Guardian type of deal, and how the two correlate because of the bloodstone that the J constructs didn't sap up.
Yeah.
Because the very reason of that event chain is to prevent the J constructs from supping up bloodstone from stalactites. Is the right word? Stalactite?
Stalactites are on the ceiling and hang down.
Stalagmite, then.
Okay.
So there were bloodstone stalagmites on the bot that they're trying to suck up energy, and I think it's just because those jade constructs didn't get that energy, the Unbound Guardian appears. So that's kind of cool.
And that's a good question from chat, because I also haven't bought any of the gliding skills because I'm trying to save up for all the other goodies that are in there. Because yeah, we kind of have an aerial combat, but not really. Like, don't jump to conclusions, but you can purchase using, I think, the magic essence and also the bloodstone gem things, or the ruby gems, that are now the currency of the map. You can buy more skills for your aerial flying while you're gliding, because there's an achievement to use that against Justicar Hablion, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure if they are account-wide or not. I haven't tried to purchase
From the wiki, it says the binding is account-bound. So when you buy it for your account.
Okay, then yeah, so there you go. It is an account-bound unlock, so maybe you can have one farming character specifically just for that. But at this point, did Canuck show up yet? I thought he was on the ship with us.
Canuck showed up at Radinovis. I think he didn't,
because he basically didn't he tell us that he was coming with us to help rescue Caudicus because like he says it in such a manner. Like honestly, the voice acting this time around is fantastic. Like you can hear Canuck's sarcasm. He's like, "Yeah, Countess Anise wants me to help, go in and rescue Codicus. If for whatever reason it seems like he refuses, I can apparently, or there's an accident. Like you can hear like he was told that basically if you have to kill him, kill him, type of thing.
That was really interesting.
But yeah, basically once you get the mastery, then you can travel to the basically the bottom of the map and basically where all the explosion actually happened. And the story instance in there actually has you check out some of the wreckage and stuff like that, and you can actually see this ritual in the middle. And if you look closely, you can actually see, and they actually make a mention of this near the end of the thing, the shadows of, I'm assuming, White Mantle or basically followers were burned into the wall, almost like an atomic explosion type thing. Which I was like, wow, that's a good dark touch, but it shows the severity of what happened, which is nice. And I think that's the first part in the story where actually you come across a Jade construct if you don't necessarily do the events in the map. And now that you have that, huh?
You also meet up with Keith?
Oh yeah, she appears and she kind of just says I think she wants you to or accept her apology, but you kind of don't. You're like, we'll see. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, type of thing. Go ahead.
I do have a question for you. Do you think? Well, first, do you think we'll actually forgive her? And second, if we forgive her or not, do you think she'll be part of the new guild we're making?
I think that's going to be possibly the bargaining chip of whatever Codicus has in mind for things, because prior to the patch, how I kind of see it even more happening, how it seems like he wants to kind of overthrow the Crichton royalty and kind of take its place, and he's kind of using they're still allied with these Sylvari that have been proven to be evil type thing, and Morgemoth stuff. I could see him trying to use as a bargaining chip, it just seems like that classical gameplay of you're kind of on the outs with this person, you're starting to mend bridges, but he's over here saying do you potentially want to ruin your friendship with Keith and
yeah, that's true.
Oh, that is a good point. At the very beginning, we got what the
Trading
guild
Watch.
name was going to be called. And apparently the one that won was Dragon Watch. I mean, like I said, I wasn't too enthused about any of them, but Dragon Watch, I was like, okay, it's...
I still want the group formerly known as Destiny's Edge 2.0, but...
But to be fair, I don't think that was an option.
Yeah. Should have been. Anyway.
But honestly, when you fight the construct in that instance, you actually get to use your mastery skill that you learned. It's the using the magic, which helps fight back the Jade construct.
Oh yeah, with the special action key.
Yeah, so if you haven't played this yet and you're still here for the spoilers, definitely have your special action key. You can find it in your options, kind of bound to something that you're aware of, because it will be used in the story. Basically, once you do that, you can go straight to the other, and I think this is the final instance, where you're kind of working your way through a couple of shattered Colosseum, shattered structures, they're just circular rooms, but you actually fight a White Mantle leader, and I'll have to say it was a pretty fun fight for...
Yeah. We didn't kind of know because I went in Amadeo, and at first we didn't know what we were doing because and I realized it going through the second time around that we actually did the mechanics of that fight beforehand with the Bloodstone Elementals.
Yeah, just with so many people was kind of hard. Like with both of us there, we were
Yeah.
both like stacked on it, so we didn't even notice.
Yeah,
But yeah, it does a nice job, kind of like we said, like way back with the Glint's Lair. Like it kind of teaches you the mechanics leading up to that boss fight. Like with
So
Glint's
it's pretty
Lair,
good.
kind of showed you each separate mechanic, and they were like, okay, here's them all at once. Like,
have fun.
yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, the concept is you use a Bloodstone shard that's in the middle, and when she uses a shield, you basically connect with the shard and create a beam between you and the shard, and you basically have to stand in between her. You know, she has to be in the middle there, and it destroys her Defiance bar, which brings down her shield, and you can keep fighting her. And
Yeah.
there's ads the whole time.
Let me tell you, that fight is hard by yourself.
Oh,
I
really?
went down a few times here.
And then you get to the next one, and I think at that point you fight a Jade Construct again, and basically you have to there's 4 shards around the circle that you have to kind of, I think, bring them across diagonally to destroy the Jade Construct.
Yeah, there are 4 Bloodstone shards, and then you could just each of them would like if you had a full party of 5, you know, you can have one person just hammering on the person while 4 other people are just bringing that.
And I agree with what Chad's saying. Like, and I think we were even saying it during the instance when we're talking about these fights we're talking about. Yeah, ArenaNet's kind of improved the complexity of the fights, and you know that's kind of what they always like. That's what they did with the standalone, but also the expansion in Guild Wars 1, where they were like, you know, we're building upon this stuff. It's like you gotta learn, or you know, kind of get left in the wayside. Like they said they would make them, you know, fights a little more challenging. So yeah, definitely kudos to them on, you know, sticking with that. But yeah, after you fight the Jade Construct, then you get I think then you get stunned, but then there's a cutscene and a little bit of dialogue because you find you find Codicus, and apparently he will now be the leader of the White Mantle and their unseen gods, or so you think. He gives out this whole big speech, and then all of a sudden, what everybody thought was from the raid, what looked like a Mersat from that regeneration thing, was right. And I think everybody was right. Of course, it was Lazarus from Guild Wars 1, the guy that said, I will get you even if it takes me generations, like, type of thing. Well, he appears, and he kind of, like, surprisingly, he kind of turns to Codicus, who was, like, saying, like, how, I am instilling your vision. He's like Lazarus, is just looking at him going, no, you are not worthy, type of thing. Like he threw Codicus to the wayside, which is kind of interesting. Like,
Yeah.
is he gonna be an ally for us now? Which is kind of weird. Like,
No. No.
well, is he gonna be like
I
that?
don't.
Is he gonna be like that chaos? Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like how we always thought Canuck might have been, but he kind of turned to like a more good side. Whereas I think Codicus would be like, look, I don't like you guys, but this is a bigger deal.
He's like, take care of Lazarus so that I can rule
Yeah.
the White Mantle, please.
Yeah, he's gonna be that guy where like he notices you start like beating, Lazarus, which you don't do that in this instance. We're just hypothetical here. Like, he's gonna see you guys make ground, and he's gonna be like, this is my shot to backstab you, so I can be the only one left standing. Like, I could see him being that type of the player in the game.
Because I haven't really I haven't done a lot of story with Codicus. I haven't done a lot of explorable Codicus Manor, but the way he's kind of portrayed in this Living Story episode, it feels like this character, If there was like a villain that I could name that was very close, I can't think of one on the top of my head. He seems like the type of guy who wants power, but kind of puts people in the way. If something bad happens, he's the type of guy who will escape first.
Oh yeah.
And leave people behind.
Yeah, he's sitting in the escape pod, like, oh yeah, you guys, good work. Like,
yeah. You see how fast he ran when Lazarus put down all that burning fire?
yeah. So Caudicus does escape after he kind of basically Lazarus gives out a warning of, I forget the exact wording of it, but it's basically all who stand with me will bask in my light, but all who oppose me will burn it in the fire or something. Basically, he was torching the place.
Oh man, when he said that, I got chills, man.
Yeah, I was like,
so good.
oh crap. But
How to live?
yeah, basically, so him, Caudicus and Minister Way or We escape, I think through a mesmer portal, and Lazarus flies off. But we do discover that I think Lazarus was the cause of the implosion, and that's why everything, like, he's super powerful now. Because if you don't know, in Guild Wars 1, they were using the Bloodstones to basically acquire souls to charge their batteries to keep the door Kamali closed in the Ring of Fire. So they very much know how to manipulate the Bloodstone magic, which seems like that's what Lazarus did. But he does make it. It is interesting to note before we start theorizing about that, and I don't know how much longer we're going to go with this, but probably do it for after show, which is why it's so important to show up, because we just hit the 2-hour mark. But just to stick with the story, and after everything settles down, Lazarus disappears, Caudicus is gone. Kind of like what Age said at the beginning. Timey gives us a little bit of news on our walkie-talkie, ley line type thing. And yeah, Primordius is apparently active. So, like, what? Like, you just dropped that bombshell on us? Like, basically, episode 1 I could sum it up to as Guild Wars 1 nostalgia trip insane.
It's pretty fun.
Oh, chat's saying it's actually Lady Wee's daughter. I thought it said actually Lady Wee on it, but maybe I didn't even look at daughter part. Did she actually have a name, or did they just refer to her as Lady Wee's daughter?
I think she had a name, but technically they're both Lady Wee, I guess.
That is a good point. Yeah, if she's not married, it would still be.
Yeah. It does look like a younger person, so it could be. Yeah, it could be Lady Wee's daughter. It was a full name. I just didn't read the full name.
Huh. Okay, and my bad. Like I said, I went through it the one night only. I definitely want to head back in though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Primordius is up and active, and I mean,
Return of the Dwarves. Return of the Dwarves.
Please. But yeah, there's a couple cool things that can come out from this. Like, I'm not saying this is going to happen in the next story, but where it could lead, I mean, yeah, we know Primordius is its minions are bothering the Tengu, so maybe after we deal with Primordius, that could, or during, we might get the Tengu as an alliance or more active, but maybe once we deal with Primordius, maybe they'll open their gates to us, and we can go into the Dominion of the Winds,
Ooh.
Hopefully.
Neat. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, seriously, what do we have to do for them to trust us? Oh, and Chad is saying the full name was Lady Valette Wee.
Lady Valette Wee.
I guess maybe I just dropped the Valette part. Like, I was just like... But...
He technically wasn't wrong. He did say Lady Wee. He just didn't mention the first name.
Yeah. I'm always right now. But And honestly, I don't know if we talked about it during the show or something like that. Wiki. Um, we also have Demi running around, who is Caudicus's daughter. Like, she's supposedly in the Order of Whispers. That's like,
Right.
I wonder if she's gonna pop back up as hopefully an ally. I mean, I don't know if I could. I don't know if my heart could take it if after what we had to go through with. Wow, I am blanking on names, and now this doesn't feel as heartfelt.
So,
Tybalt, yes.
Tybalt?
Like, after we had to go through with Tybalt, like, he believed in her as well. Like, we helped her all the way through. And if she turns on us, I mean, I will kill her for Tybalt.
wow.
I will put apple bomb in her mouth. Like, if she desecrates Tybalt's name like that, oh, it is on. But,
Wow. It definitely. I think the story overall was pretty good. I think it left a nice cliffhanger for next time. I am a little worried about how Living Story is going to be done in the future, because I know a lot of people have said this is going to be short, and usually it'd be okay for last season, but this time around we're going to have 2-3 months of Living Story each time, and I understand the idea of having consistent Living Story throughout the year, which is a good idea. It's just that people will want content to do, maybe not necessarily story-wise, but I was trying to picture in my head story, whatever content they added in addition to the story, how long would that last, and will there be patches in between those 2-3 months of Living World Story? Because they could do that. I wonder if that will be something that they do in order to alleviate, boredom. So,
because that's gonna be the
right
thing.
now.
Like, right now, I think since we've had that content drought with the new map and like the stuff you can kind of farm out of it, I think that's gonna suffice. But if that's the reoccurring theme, or like if they come out with a new map and that's the same thing, it's gonna get tiring after a while, and people are gonna see through it. If it's using the same map, which I would assume, I mean, I don't see it branching that far away from all that stuff so quickly. You're just gonna still be in the same map, so it's.
I could see like 2 or 3 more maps for this season, but I think my problem is that I guess for the average player, I think it's enough for now, but like people like me, if I only played PvE, I'd probably get bored within a month, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But since I play World vs. World and PvP, it won't be that way. And like I have like PvP seasons starting up like in a week or something like that. World vs. World's still always like good to play around stuff. I think it'll be fine for me. I don't know about players who just specifically just play PvE and like do farm, like all the things. And that's probably the reason why things are so expensive, so that people have an objective to do for the next 2-3 months.
Yeah, and I mean, do you think? I'm curious, like with the season, the Living Story season, is that going to revolve around maybe going after this whole White Mantle uprising and stuff, and maybe Primordius is going to start trickling in, kind of like what they did with Morgemoth? I'm wondering, because they've constantly said Heart of Thorns was supposed to be a lot of features and not a lot of content. Like they were trying to build like the framework and then build upon it. I wonder if they're going to give us not a huge, like, not, I don't want to say 100% content for the next expansion, but if it's more content. I think I said this in the past, and that's why while I'm excited where this went, I wasn't wholly surprised. I'm surprised of how it happened, but for me, I was like expecting it from a lore stance, especially once we started heading there, and with all the signs, as we got closer, I was like, clearly this is how it's gonna be. And I also thought about Primordius because, I mean, they really were trying to say like how the verticality of Heart of Thorns. I think in the past, it might have been during an after show, it might have been just talking with Guildies. I can't remember where I said it before, but I was like, they're really stretching verticality, and they were talking about the canopy going up, up, and up. Well, there's a different direction. And like, what if like, the next expansion involves Primordius, and it's like, yeah, like, I don't know if they could do all the maps. If they did, that'd be insane. But what they were just like, yeah, you see this map that we have, and it shows like all of like, the current land that we have, all the places underground, because that's where Primordius is. It's like, like I said, that's a huge order to ask to basically double. But I could see like maybe like a good handful of like different zones, because like you said, we have the Great Dwarf, hopefully the Return of the Dwarves, like,
yeah,
because there's also that interaction. We have Ogden, who's kind of stayed away from them.
That's going to be very interesting to interact with Ogden. I think maps can have I can still think they can have 3 levels, but they can control what levels there be. So they can have 2 above ground, 1 above ground for one map. They can have 1 above ground and 2 below ground kind of deal, or maybe just like 3 below ground. I don't know, but I think that the possibility for those types of situations will be there. So I don't think it's impossible to have underground mapping.
Yeah.
So,
and chat, like you're saying, speaking of the verticality in Primordius, the minion wins. Yeah, I was saying that at the beginning, that is the one thing that is kind of keeping them from. We know that that's an issue from some of the Tengu that have been outside the wall, that have been merchants. They're saying that Primordius' minions are, really messing with them. So I'm hoping maybe while we're fighting Primordius, they maybe are like, we'll see more of them, but maybe after we defeat them, they're like, oh, we can trust these people. Like, they're not the Canthan people that are trying to wipe everybody out if they're not human. So
yeah. It's gonna be. There's a lot of different paths the story could take, and I think I said, I think I told Dale this, but I think it'll be the main focus for this season will be about the White Mantle, and Primordius will be like trickling here and there, and I think the expansion will mainly focus on Primordius. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way it'll go, and like the expansion will probably come out next year, if anything, or there'll be an announcement sometime next year about it.
And I guess we'll leave it, since we're already hitting like 2 hours and 50 minutes. We'll still do an after show, probably not as long of a one, because I know we were a little bit late and all that stuff. But I do want to leave you with this thought, like, because we did talk about, with Primordius, it could possibly mean seeing all the dwarves with that, the Great Dwarf collective conscious. I wonder if this is going to start shedding light on the gods of old, and this could, like the Great Dwarf, and possibly eventually stem to the human gods and all that stuff. But if you look at how the Great Dwarf operates, it's kind of like the dragons. I mean, we had Morgemoth basically go, okay, collective conscience type thing and all that stuff. That's kind of what the Great Dwarf was. They imbued themselves, they took upon and took the ritual and all have that hive mind. And it's also kind of a reoccurring role. Like, you have it with the Skritt, you have it with the... like. Yeah,
but the difference between the dwarves and the dragons is that the dwarves volunteered to do it.
Yeah.
They, like, the elder dragons kind of forced it upon
But to be fair, that might be because they were brainwashing this idea of this is your religion, like, you take the right to do it. But I think it kind of also boils down to this might be that chaos and order type thing, because the old texts do say that this is supposed to fight off the Great Destroyer, which was a minion of Primordius. So it almost seems like it was the counteract measure. So it's almost like good corruption. It's and this is why I like Guild Wars 2. Like it's really exploring that gray area. I mean, I hope we expand on this Caudicus thing of, yeah, he's evil, but now he's evil. But when he realized who he was working for, he's like, oh, I'm not that evil. I'm evil, but not that evil. Like, so it's like, do we ally ourselves with this less evil guy to defeat this evil guy? And then what do we do with the less evil guy? Kind of like I think what Tavik was saying earlier. Maybe Caudicus is our Guild Wars 2 Palawa Joko, where maybe we have to deal with
Joko is really evil, though.
Yeah, but we used his evilness as a tool to get towards another evil that we kind of let slip through the cracks.
Lazarus is the less evil guy.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, that might have to be something we save for after show, but I'd love to hear people on the VOD even talk about it. Chat saying Ashley Lazarus is the less evil guy. I think that's a good place to stop. We'll do after show and probably go with that idea, because that is a slippery slope that I love, because I love the Mersat story. But so Age, where can you be found?
Twitch and YouTube at Age Night Red.
And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. And if you're tuning in right now, all of this so far, even the spoiler stuff, will be tagged in our description on the VOD on YouTube, which will go live. Just search Talking Skritt on YouTube, where usually the first one pops up, and that goes up every Sunday at 12 or noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you're watching on YouTube, like I said, we're going to be continuing this lore conversation. And during our after show, just search twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit, and we go live every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Apart from any technical difficulties, but you know, that is the way of things. But as always, music should play. There we go. As always, we will see you in the game. Good night, everybody.